Welcome to the Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health podcast. I'm Maya Ratla, medical astrologist, astroherbalist, and green witch. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at 19, and I was told I would never have children. I healed my body through the power of herbs, alternative health practitioners, energy healing, and more. At 28, I had the baby they said I would never have, without any interventions. I refused to believe that my body was not able to heal itself. Along this journey, I stumbled across medical astrology, and it resonated with me so much. I started down the path to learning this unique system that had been used for thousands of years in the medical community. I now help other women heal their bodies using their cosmic blueprint, the unique blueprint that every person has embedded in their DNA from the stars. This system helps me see what's going on in your body on a cosmic level and exactly how to help you give your body what it needs to heal itself. We are all uniquely and amazingly designed, and when we learn to work with our design, love ourselves for how we are designed to function, and integrate the cosmos into our lives, I truly believe that we can see true and lasting health brought into our lives. If you are ready to change your life, heal your body, and learn to deeply love who you are, this podcast is for you. Come join me as I discuss medical astrology, astronutrition, astroherbalism, health, wellness, spirituality, transformation, and so much more. I'm so excited you are joining me. Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special episode today. I have gotten permission from many of my clients to do this episode, and I am super excited about it. So this episode is just some of my clients coming and giving their testimonials of working with me, why they loved it so much, what was detailed, how they feel now compared to where they started, and just really so much more, and whatever else they decided to come up with. I've been collecting these testimonials for a while for this episode in particular. I don't know if you remember, but back a few months ago, I was asking people to either call in and leave a message or schedule a time with me, and that's what happened. So I got a few that were fine with recordings, so they sent me recordings, or we had a conversation together and got it that way, and others sent stuff in writing that they were like, hey, you can just go ahead and read this. I'm not cool with the whole audio thing, which I totally understand because it's not everybody's thing. So I'm gonna have a mix today of audio and me reading some of the written testimonials. So let's jump right in. So we're gonna start with the written ones, and then we will move on to the audio ones. So one of the first ones I want to talk about is Sarah. Sarah came to see me because she was just having some health problems that she'd been dealing with for a while. Was doing what she felt was a fairly good job, but just wanted some more insight into how to help her body with those. So this is what Sarah had to say after her reading. She says, I would definitely want to come back and work with Iyer again because of her knowledge and her insights. Iyer has a thorough knowledge of medical astrology, which is shown in her explanations in her readings. I thoroughly enjoyed finding out about how medical astrology works and its relationship to me as an individual. Iyer's recommendations are well thought out and explained. I will have to come back and watch the video again and take some more notes. Yes, that's one of the things that I get a lot, more notes. So I'm very happy to hear that, Sarah, and that everything turned out well for you. We are wishing you all the best. So the next one that I have is from Sammy. Sammy came to see me because she hadn't not had a period in over a year. She was a bit concerned because obviously if you are an individual with ovaries and a uterus, you are supposed to be having periods, and when you don't, that is a sign of some kind of dysfunction or imbalance going on in the body, right? She tried alternative medicine, individuals, practitioners before with no success, and she tried traditional and allopathic doctors with no success. And after trying on her own, she just felt she needed some more support and wanted to discuss, like, let's do a reading and see what we can come up with, right? So we did my 3-month medical astrology and health coaching package together. And this is what Sammy had to say. Aya is a wealth of knowledge. She seriously knows her stuff. You can tell she genuinely wants to help and is a very supportive person to have while going through a healing journey. She is incredible. I only wish I would have booked with her sooner because she provided me with so many insights that have helped me take better care of this vessel. Yes. Yes, Sammy, you have done great. After our 3 months of working together, Sammy had spotting multiple times, which is a proof that her body is starting to attempt to have a period, which is more than she'd had in a year. She said that she felt so much better, she had more energy, and she just knew that her body was going to start doing what it was supposed to do soon. On top of that, she said that she felt very empowered after our 3 months together to take what she had learned from me and build on that and have confidence in her ability to trust her body and give it what it needed, and that having that medical astrology to lean back on and how her body was designed was an invaluable resource for her. I am so happy that everything is going better, Sammy, and I look forward to hearing any updates. So the next one we have is from Andrea. Andrea came to me just wanting some recommendations based on some, I believe it was GI issues that she was having. She'd been struggling with them for a while, and she really just wanted to see if I could help look into her chart and figure out what was going on and give her some better solutions. So Andrea, after working together, says, great. It was great. Ira was very informative and provided a clear protocol of recommendations. She is friendly, great communication, and very knowledgeable. And I reached out to Ira based on a peer's recommendation. I wasn't sure what exactly I would be getting back, and I was not disappointed. The amount of information Ira provided was remarkable. I laughed at times listening to the reading because I totally do the things Ira mentioned. I feel confident I have the information and guidance I need to move my body further into alignment with my health and wellness goals. Thank you, Ira. I look forward to continuing to work together on this journey. You are very welcome, Andrea. I am glad that I was able to give you some insight and help you with your body. Hopefully, I will hear from you soon to see what is going on now that it's been a couple more months. The next one we have is from Tara. Tara came to me as she's been struggling with some fertility issues, and we wanted to do a reading to see if we could give some insights into what was going on and things that she could add into her regimen. We did the reading and we did a 3-month package together. And after working together, Tara says Ira was super amazing to work with. She knew exactly what was going on in my body and how to treat my symptoms. She really knows her stuff. And if you listened to her episode when she was on with me, you will also know that I found a lot of stuff that her intuitive medicine doctors had found, and that also made her very happy and excited because I was finding exactly things that they were seeing on the blood work and helping her know that she was definitely moving in the right direction. She also has sent me a message that says, holy moly, this is after she got the reading. That was super powerful. So spot on. So, yes, she has been having good success as well, from what I understand. So I am very excited about that and for her. And I look forward to hearing any updates as they come in. The next one we have is from Tamsin. She got a general medical astrology reading. She was not currently having any health problems that she wanted to manage, but she just kind of wanted an overall view of how her body was designed in ways that she could keep it healthy, happy, and supported, right? So we did the reading together. And this is what she had to say afterwards. It is very clear to me that Ira loves what she does, and that always draws me to people. Iyer has a way of putting you at ease and speaking clearly and concisely about her field of expertise. She is a font of knowledge and wonderful to speak with. Thank you so much, Iyer. Yes, you're very welcome, Tamsin. I remember that she is a strong Leo in her chart, so she is very fiery and hot. And a lot of the stuff going on was potential for hot, fiery like conditions, right? And so I gave her a lot of suggestions that she could do to help calm that fiery nature of hers and keep her body happy, healthy, and well balanced. And I have not heard anything recently, so I'm going to assume that that means everything is great. So you're very welcome, Tamsin, and I'm glad that we could work together. Here from Cecily. Cecily came and joined my Welcome to Wellness program. There you go. My mind went blank for a second. My Welcome to Wellness program, and that comes with a medical astrology reading. So she says, after doing the program, working together, Cecily says that she just wants to say how impressed she is by this program. There's so many materials to download, such great videos. Just downloaded the gratitude journal, got to the guided meditation. I love the coffee recipe. I knew this would be a great program, but I had no idea how thorough and robust it would be. It's really over the top. I feel like each new piece you send and post is a present to unwrap. You are outstanding. I didn't expect this to be so much fun. It's just so clear how much work you put into this. I'm impressed. She also said, when I gave her the reading, I am only 17 minutes into this and I love it so much. You are fabulous. Yes, well, thank you, Cecily. I'm glad to hear that and that it was so useful for you. Cecily's been doing great, by the way. She completed the program and she is feeling much better and happy and healthy and well on her way to getting to the health goals that she was looking to reach. She's been amazing to work with, and I'm so glad that I was able to help her. Another one comes from Regina. Regina had a medical astrology reading from me as well as joining the Welcome to Wellness program. And this is what she had to say. The medical astrology reading that Iyer provided was detailed, informative, practical, and so validating. I was amazed as to how well she knew my body and health-related needs and grateful for all the insights and tips that were provided. It was such a great gift to receive. Thank you so much, Iyer. You're welcome, Regina. Last I heard, Regina is doing great as well. Another one comes from Letha. This is about my book, Your Sun Sign and Your Health, that she downloaded and just wanted to send me a quick, hey, guess what kind of a thing. She says, I just wanted to tell you how amazing your book is. I've been chronically ill for so long, and there isn't a doctor out there that has figured me out yet. So I just recently started looking into medical astrology and medicinal plants and so forth. Awesome. I am so glad that I was able to help you get a little further along and figure out what is going on, hopefully, so that you can support your body. I look forward to possibly working with you more in the future, Letha. Melanie. Melanie and I worked together. She's been having some GI issues and some hormonal issues over the past few years. I was looking for some support, and so we found each other and gave her a medical astrology reading, and she also joined my Welcome to Wellness program, and this is what she had to say. If you're looking for a thorough, intuitive approach to your health with the support of a friendly, knowledgeable practitioner, then look no further. Iyer is amazing at what she does, and I am excited for the health transformation I will have in the coming months and years. Thank you, Melanie. I've been so excited to watch you along this way and see how much confidence you're gaining in learning to trust your body and all of the good stuff that has been happening since we started working together. I just know everything is going to get so much better. I have another one here from Lindsay. Lindsay says, Aya is amazing to work with. She cares about you. She listens. She doesn't want to mask your symptoms. She wants to aid in your healing. Aya has changed my life and done for me what so many doctors claimed couldn't be done. Lindsay is one of my OG clients. We have been working together for a number of years on and off, and she is such a joy to work with. And she came to me initially for period problems. She was having 14-day periods that were super heavy, like a tampon an hour type heavy. You know, the kind they tell you to go to the hospital because you're possibly hemorrhaging heavy for years. She'd been having this for years. And no no changes from anything that she had gone to for allopathic doctors. She came to me, we started working together within, I think it was 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there. We had her down to 5 to 7 day periods, normal flow, having so much energy again, feeling better, and she has continued in that line. And it's been, oh, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years now, maybe three. It's been a while, and I honestly don't remember exactly how long it has been, but I know it's been well over a year, and she um, is doing great. She is still an active client. I have a program for clients that after we finish the packages of the 3 or 6 month packages, they can go into, which is kind of like a concierge service, where you get the unlimited text and email support still from here until you decide that you no longer would like to have that. And so for a monthly fee, you pay the monthly fee and you get that. This also includes some herbal preparations as needed as well. So it's a great program that a lot of my clients choose to go into just to have that like voice of reason and somebody who, they can contact for things quickly and know they're going to get a fairly quick response and some help that they need to keep them going in their journeys. So Lindsay is a part of that, and it's fabulous working. Thing that I had to read, I'm now going to hand it over to the audio testimonials that you guys will tune into and listen to as well. If you have any questions after this episode, please feel free to reach out to me. If you would like to learn more about how to sign up yourself, please email me at info@twinravennaturals.com. Let's figure out which package is best for you and get you signed up for that so you can get feeling better as soon as possible. And if you just want to talk about, hey, this is what's going on, is this something that you could help with or that I could get some insight into using medical astrology, like just have a discussion about whether or not what you're having going on in your body is something that I can help with, yeah, let's do that too. I would love to be able to offer you some insight and see if what you're going through is something that my services would be able to help you with. So please, again, reach out to info@twinravennaturals.com, or you can find me on Instagram at Atla Astrology and DM me through there. I will talk to you guys later. Stay tuned for the audio testimonials. Today I am here with Zara. She and I recently worked together, and she just wanted to come and give you guys an idea of what to expect when you come work with me too. So, hi Zara, why did you initially come to see me?
Hi. I initially came to see you because I was having some issues with my gallbladder. Took me a second to remember what the initial thing was because you ended up helping me with so many things.
Right? It
um,
was more than just that.
right. Yes. It turned into so many amazing things. But a few years ago, my gallbladder started shutting down, and doctors told me that I needed to have it removed. But I insisted on figuring out a way to heal it. And working with you has been the icing on the cake of my gallbladder healing journey.
Yay, good to know that. Um, when you came to see me, what service did we end up doing together?
You read my medical astrology, specifically for looking at the gallbladder issues. And then you found several other things, which is what amazed me so much. You guys, I literally gave her this little snippet of what I needed help with. And she came back and told me from my medical astrology chart things that I was diagnosed with as a kid that she didn't know about me. And that was when I knew that medical astrology was legit.
Yes. Yes, I remember that. I sent you the stuff and you messaged me and were like, how did you know this thing? I've been, what was it? The stomach acid thing. You were like, I have been dealing with this since I was a kid. And you legit discovered that. We're like, hey, here's ways that you can fix that too.
Yeah, I literally got accused of like being anorexic when I was a kid because my
Mm.
stomach's never produced enough acid and my body's never broken down nutrients like it was supposed to. And then it took until it was like middle school before someone was finally like, oh, hey, we can do a test for that. But the fact that you just saw it with initially looking at my chart, and then you helped me with a bunch of herbs that I have still been taking and are still helping and supporting my body, and that has been fabulous.
Awesome. So the next question was going to be, what plan did we come up with for you to follow? So herbs was one of them.
Herbs and castor oil. You taught me about using castor oil packs, which I have been doing every day and has become one of my best friends. I've always worked closely with my menstrual cycle, and I've had a lot of issues that I've had to help heal, as far as that goes. And not only has it helped with the liver and the gallbladder symptoms, but it has been a game changer for my PMS, which is amazing. So yeah, the herbs, the daily herbs and the castor oil, and also all the nutrient recommendations that you gave me for supplementing, like changing meals around in ways that I could support my body better, that has been very helpful as well.
Awesome. I am glad to hear that. So this leads into the next question. How are you feeling now?
Wonderful. I still get gallbladder twinges a little bit when I eat like very high fat, like trash food that I know I shouldn't be feeding my body anyway. So I know that's on me. But before, my gallbladder had this kind of like dull ache almost daily. And that's almost completely gone. It'll come up a little bit, like I said, when I give my body something I shouldn't. But the teas have been so soothing, and I can tell too. And this is a fun thing. I started gaining weight since I started working with you, which shows me that my body is actually breaking down nutrients. I have been under the bottom number of my BMI for like over 6 years now. I haven't been able to gain weight. And I started gaining weight when I started following the things you suggested. So, yay.
Yay, that makes my heart so happy. I am so happy to hear that. I know most everybody is probably like, oh, gaining weight, huh? But that is a
Yep.
sign that your body is healing for sure. When,
Right. For perspective, guys, I got down to 92 pounds. I was so sick. I was literally skeletal. So gaining weight was like pivotal for healing for me.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. And while so much of allopathic medicine focuses on everybody has to be skinny and lose all this weight, they don't always talk about a lot of times that being what underweight can be too. It can be just as,
Yep.
hard and horrible for your body and your health if you don't have enough body fat too. So there's a fine line between, too much and too little, but if you're in the too little category, it can cause a lot of issues too. So the fact that you're gaining weight is such an amazing sign that your body is definitely on the healing journey where it needs to be. That makes
Yeah.
me happy to hear that.
Yes.
And so then that leads to the last question. Would you recommend others come and see me for my services?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Working with you was so reassuring every step of the journey because any questions that I had or pieces I was trying to put together, you answered so fully. And I love that you have the combination of your nursing mixed in there. So you knew the things that the medical field had told me, and you were able to help me understand the difference and why they said one versus more holistic approaches. And just overall, your guidance was so reassuring and really gave me the confidence to be able to support my body. And I'm very, very grateful.
Oh, seriously, that makes my heart so happy. I am so glad to hear that. And I am glad that things are moving in the right direction. and that everything is working out as it should be. So thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, and you are so welcome.
Okay, this is a testimonial and review for Ira Alta's medical astrology readings. So I had Ira do my medical astrology reading some time ago now, and I'm not going to remember all the details, which is for the best because I probably could have talked about it for hours otherwise, which nobody else wants to hear me do. Maybe Ira would be happy to. Nobody else wants to hear that. But I will say that while I was listening to it, and by the way, she gave me like so much info. Like she actually talked for over an hour and it was so much info. I have to go back. It was so great. During the time that I was listening to her reading, I guess, I was constantly pausing to tell my friend, and this, and this, and this, like, oh my gosh, she even told me that I like, it's not just me, that's true. So first and foremost, I would say it was super duper duper validating because I've already done so much work on my body. Like I've done an elimination diet, I've done a lot of work figuring out what works for me and how my body works and what's best for it. So mostly I just found it super duper validating, which is always helpful. You know, it took away a lot of the guilt I feel or a lot of the self-blame that I feel about, you know, even just like not being able to eat certain things or being really sensitive to foods. That was apparently written in the stars. That being said, being written in the stars doesn't make me helpless or victim to it. And at the same time that she was doing the reading, Ira was giving me tons of helpful advice on what kind of supplements or tea would work really well for my body, you know, to sort of help some of the challenges that it has. And that's so like unbelievably helpful as well. I'm looking at notes, by the way, because I had to make notes or else everything just flies out of my head. I really loved hearing info about the reasons behind things that like I didn't necessarily know. For example, I know that it works really well for me to eat quite a high fat diet, especially in the morning. I know that fat is really important to my body, but I didn't know that there was a why. I just kind of knew, well, that's how my body works. Like this is how I feel best. But apparently, actually, the myelin sheath, which is burnt off when we stress a lot, the myelin sheath is made of fat. So if you're a person who stresses a lot, like I can be, or if you just kind of run hot, I guess I'm more fiery, shockingly, because I'm not shocked at all. My children always, like, we've all agreed that I would be the fire avatar if we were avatar types, so that's not surprising. But yeah, so the myelin sheath actually needs that fat to replenish itself. So I didn't know, like, that's why my body likes a lot of fat, or, you know, one of the reasons. So that was super duper cool. Let me see what else. Did I write anything else that was particular? Not really, but there was such an amazing amount of information. It was deeply informative, hugely validating, and tremendously helpful. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to understand their body and health better. And honestly, like I did an elimination diet when my children were babies, and I recommend an elimination diet to people who really want to understand their bodies. But frankly, if I had done this and just like trusted it completely, I probably wouldn't have needed to spend years figuring out how my body works and what works best for my body. So if you want to cut out years of figuring that out and just go straight to the truth, a medical astrology reading is definitely for you. That being said, I don't personally regret any of that because I'm a person who learns by experience. And even now I can eat the same thing that I know is going to make me feel bad just to, like, you know, check it for the 20th time. Does this thing still make me feel bad? So I do know that I need to learn through experience, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that too, but the medical astrology reading was fantastic, stellar, spot on, and so helpful and validating. So thank you again, Ira, from the bottom of my heart. And if anybody is considering doing one to understand their body a little bit better and what their body needs, I highly recommend it. Like, I really couldn't recommend it more. It's amazing. Worth every penny and so much more.
So now we have Adriana Keefe, who had a reading with me, I don't know, several months ago now. And we're just going to talk today to see how her experience was and what she found, discovered, and how it's helped her during this time. Hi, Adriana.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about all this today. It's going to be a good reflection point for me, I think.
Yes, yes. So I am so excited about this. I know you all, if you listen to the podcast, Adriana was on here as a guest. Well, then we collaborated together and she had a reading. And so now we're going to discuss how that went. So tell us, which reading did you end up going with, Adriana?
Overall medical astrology reading.
Yes. So that's what we're going with. So yeah, we did that. And if you don't mind, what problem or health issue, if you want to discuss that, did you come with? It can be generalized if you don't want to be very specific. And yeah, just go over that, what you came for, and then what results you got from the reading in, when you received it.
Yeah, I'm happy to share in depth because I know that there are going to be women listening to this who need to hear the things I'm going to say. Even though it's very personal, we need to talk about this kind of thing more.
We do.
I have for 15 plus years been struggling with pain and bleeding with intercourse, bleeding outside my period, having periods in general that just weren't, they were just all over the place and always bleeding, sometimes not bleeding at all.
Mhm.
That's been, I think, the biggest piece for me that I've been forever constantly searching for help with. But on more of the musculoskeletal front, I've had constant, since I was a kid, back problems, herniated discs, all these things that had to do with my back and pelvic SI joint area, especially with having 3 kids. Everything just got worse over time. So when we were diving into, well, when you were diving into my astrology, when I was learning about there, there was a lot that resonated immediately. But I think one of the biggest pieces that you reminded me of, because it's something we know these things, but then sometimes we don't actively use them on ourselves, is
Mhm.
my moon is in Scorpio. And I also am a Taurus. So I've learned it's a very stubborn energy. And so I have a lot that's been held in my body for many years. And I'm also a child of trauma. And, I'm going to put this out there. This is a trigger alert for anyone who needs to stop listening right now. It has to do with abuse. I was sexually abused for multiple years when I was a kid. And so it's no surprise to me and anyone else, probably like yourself, Ire and Louise Hay,
Mhm.
what part of my body problems started showing up in. So obviously I started having issues with my female reproductive system and all of that. And when this was brought up in the reading that you did, I was like, well, obviously this is all linked back to that. I think that was the biggest piece that I really needed to unlock, was that I have a lot of emotion held in my body. I
Mhm.
also had a lot of family emotion that I was always the caretaker for when I was a kid. So while I was dealing with my own stuff all internally, I was also trying to hold the family together. And so I have become very stoic with my emotions and it's fine, everything's
Mhm.
fine. And then you're up there listen, your moon's in Scorpio, you probably have a lot of shit that has to come out. And it turned out I did. I started
Uh-huh.
working with people in my world who do things like subconscious release technique and other healing modalities, and I feel like I have been nonstop crying since May. But I you're over there clapping, and I'm like, this is terrible. What's the emotions? But I'm understanding that a lot of this had to get released, and a lot of
Mhm.
it's been in really weird ways too. But I'll stop there if you have any questions you want me to elaborate on.
Yes, girl, yes. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable. I know, again, this is a topic that we don't talk about in society, and I know there's a lot of women that go through very similar issues and health problems, and a lot of them get, just like you did, by doctors, oh, it's normal, or take this pill, or they just push you off and they don't have solutions. And if you're looking for a solution, let me tell you, I definitely have one. Adriana can obviously attest to that. So yeah, that's really one of the first things that as soon as I sat down, like before I do a reading, I sit down, I, cleanse my mind, I open my heart and my soul to my spirit guides and anything else out there that wants to help me with these readings as well. Open my energy to your aura and see, what you're feeling, to really help me like tune into what I really need to see in your chart, right? And oh my gosh, like I opened your chart, I ran it, and as soon as it popped open, I was like, oh girl, no
Oh,
wonder you're struggling. You got a Scorpio moon, which I have too. So I 100% like totally understand that. And that's a lot of my problems too. Scorpio moons really feel everything super, super deeply and emotionally, but we don't show that sometimes. And then it gets stuck in our body because we don't release those emotions as we should. Um, and so yeah, as soon as I saw that and a few other things, it was like the first thing that really like popped up for me was just, I think a lot of this is like psychosomatic. It's stuck in trauma, stuck in the body. There wasn't anything in your chart at all that was pointing to a physical health issue, you know? And so I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm seeing. So that's what I'm going to tell her. And yeah, and I obviously was more than just that too. There's other things that you could try and things also. So uh, yeah, I'm just really glad that, it was received like it was and that it resonated with you, because I know sometimes that's my biggest worry is that I'm going to say something like that. Well, I'm sorry, there's not a physical issue that I can find. And you're going to be like, here's one more person saying it's just in my head, and that's not what I was saying. So I'm glad that that got across properly.
oh yeah.
And yeah, so, what things did I recommend that maybe you have tried and noticed a difference? What things did you add yourself? What, like what kind of things have you started trying that you noticed have really made a huge difference since then?
It's really great to have moments of reflection like this where you're actually forced to sit down and like take a look at all of this instead of just keep putting it off, because from the day to day, it was hard for me to see progress. But
Yeah.
now looking back, I'm like, wait a second, this has all changed ever since we had this reading. And so you had recommended things like the herbal tea for my reproductive system, and then there was an herbal tea for digestion, which I will say, when I couldn't keep up with the digestion one, I decided to back burner that until I could circle back around with it. So I've definitely been more consistent with the reproductive tea, which
Mm-hmm.
I know there was like marshmallow root and other things in it.
Yeah, I don't remember what I recommended, to be honest.
Crap, should have looked that up. Oh wait, do I have it in my notes? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look. So I like to drink those. I try every day, but at least every other day or so, I always have it in my fridge and just cooling. Really getting back to yoga, because you had recommended certain yoga postures, and I had stepped away from it because of my back problems, and people were telling me I had to stop. I had to stop doing back bends. I had to stop doing this and that. And I just became so depressed because movement and yoga was a big part of my life. But I started picking that up a little bit at a time. And now looking back, like my back pain is so much better. And I feel like there's a lot that comes into play here. I think ever since I actually took this reading with you seriously, the universe, God, source, whatever you choose to believe in, was like, oh, she's ready. And now I'm seeing how everything has kind of everything's fallen into place since then. I can't say that I'm like 100% healed and all is beautiful, but the perfect people came into my life to help me at the perfect time. Like I was ready to take it on. I really do think that the teas and the things that I was like putting into my body helped me up level energetically and helped me call in these other people, these healers, helped me call in other tests that I needed to take. It's funny that we're having this conversation right now, because shortly after this, I had met someone in real life, not just on the internet, who is a hormonal coach. And I was like, hey, I have this issue. Like, do you want to talk about it? And so she did a bunch of testing with me. And one of my tests came back today. We had a conversation today. And I found out Like my estrogen's through the roof. My progesterone is almost through the roof. Like these other things that I honestly really don't think that I would have met all these people and had all these resources had I not started the process with you, because I was just energetically ready. I was available. I was open to releasing these emotions, and I was open to working with these healers and letting go and not feeling stubborn in, well, this is my life, you know? So a lot of things have shifted slowly, just like you said it would. And as of last week, I actually started to see hormonal shifts, which would be, I think, 2.5 months since we had our reading. And you told me 3 months. And last week I started to see some hormonal things changing. So I'm really curious to see what the next couple of months bring. But I will say, like, my spotting is way less. My back pain's a lot better. I am just in this period of healing, I think. Being open to it and receiving of it. And I think a lot of that came with the resonance that your reading gave me, where you would say things that I was just like, oh my God, that is so me. That is so right. This happens. How does she know that? And it just domino affected from there.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that. And like, yeah, just it does take time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand sometimes. When you go and you seek healing for any problem, if someone's offering you a quick solution where here you take this one pill and you're fixed for life, or you take this pill and everything's going to go away in, you know, a couple of weeks, that's not usually a true solution, right? It's a band-aid and it's just covering up things, and that it does take time for things to shift. Your body takes time to heal, and with hormonal issues especially, it takes 90 days of consistency on your part to notice a difference, because it takes 90 days for your eggs to mature. And so whatever you start today affects that follicle that's developing today when it drops in 90 days. And that's when you notice like the shifts happening for real. And it can be so hard to stick to something when you're not seeing those immediate results. So I give you major props for continuing, because it's not easy. It's not.
Yeah.
And you start, like you said, you feel like nothing's changing. This is why I encourage a lot of my clients to keep a journal every day. Write down how you're feeling, what's going on in your life, and start noting that from the day you start until then, and to look back on that and reflect back when you're in those pit moments, right? Where you're like, nothing's changing. I still feel crappy. My life is still miserable. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm just going to quit. Instead of quitting, read that journal, because you will see, oh, wait, so much has changed, right? And you'll notice that while maybe that one specific problem you wanted help with isn't resolved 100%, there's a bunch of other stuff that is changed in your life as well, because we don't get to pick and choose what our body heals first. So while you came to me to let's heal these, you know, hormonal issues going on, your body may not have chosen to heal those first. It's working on something else first, but everything else is changing as well. It's just a process, you know?
And you know what I forgot to mention? I know I talked to you about this the last time we chatted, back in June. So this was a few weeks after I had started. I think around my birthday in May, I think is when we did the thing. And in June, June 21st, I come home from a trip to New York. And what I'm about to say is not to scare anyone, because this is a part of the process, but I was in bed for 3 days with bleeding. I was bleeding. It wasn't my period. It was heavy. It was borderline hemorrhage. I mean, I didn't measure it, but it was a lot. I was fatigued. I was in bed for days. And I was like, what is happening to me? And it was actually my husband who was like, well, could this be the start of like the shift that you're seeing with like the teas and everything? And I was like, oh shit. And then I realized my body was shedding. My body was shedding a lot of stuff, because by this time I had started the emotional work. I had started the yoga poses. I had started the teas. Like, it was a few weeks in, and my body, I really think it was just like, yes, let's get rid of this shit and let's move on from this.
Yeah, because you can't heal until the problem is removed from the body, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, when we're dealing with hormonal issues, the only way to remove that problem is through bleeding, you know, and you have to get rid of it. If you don't get rid of it, it's just going to continue to fester, right? It's like when you have a wound and it has something inside of it, it's going to continue to fester and become infected and get an abscess and all this stuff because you didn't remove the root cause, which is whatever's inside of there irritating the body. And that's very much what happens. And I see that a lot with so many of my clients too, is a couple weeks in, maybe even a month in, it depends on, you know, so many different factors. They have a time where things are worse than they were before. And I always tell them that worst time is good because it means your body is healing and it's getting rid of all of that stuff that you need to get rid of to move on. Yep. So things will sometimes get worse before they get better. And I say sometimes, but so far out of all the clients I've worked with, it's been about a 99% chance that you're going to get worse before things get better. And that's the part where you have to continue to stick through it, even though it feels like it's not working, right? Like, well, why are things getting worse? Well, they're getting worse because your body is pushing out all that stuff that it doesn't need, and you've given it the tools finally to be able to do that.
Amen.
Yay! So I was just looking at your chart again real quick while we're doing this because I haven't opened it in a couple of months, and I see that you're right on the cusp for your first house with your rising sign. So your rising sign is a Leo rising. And you're right on the cusp there of like Leo and Virgo because it's so close to where they are. But your rising sign is always the governor of your first house, and it rules like your overall general health, right? So you might sometimes see a lot of issues occurring in your body over the parts that your rising sign governs. In this case, your rising sign is Leo, which I have the same rising sign. It's so funny. The only thing we have different in our top 3 is our sun signs. Yeah. But other than that, everything else is the same. But Leo rules the back. And so a lot of times I see Leo risings, and I have the same problem. And I see it in you, and I see it in a lot of other clients with the Leo rising, that they hold all of their emotions, their energies, their negativities, their problems, their health issues in their back somewhere. And yep. When you start healing things, your back stops hurting. And a lot of times with Leos, it's not because there's anything physically wrong with their back. It's because of the emotional stuff that Leos tend to hold on to and not release sits in their spinal cord and their column and all of that, right? And it creates back problems. And when you start strengthening that back and you do those yoga poses that strengthen your back, and you do like weightlifting that strengthens your back, and you work on strengthening your back, but also releasing the emotional stuff from your where you're holding it in your back, all your back pain disappears. And it's amazing. So when you say that about your back hurting, I was just like, let me double check, because I think she had a Leo in there somewhere that was causing that. Yeah. And you sure do. Yep.
And I will say, I've gone to the chiropractor for years. I'm a big believer in the chiropractor. Mm-hmm. And I still go every week. However, in the past, it had, it provided, I would say, more temporary relief. And I'm talking temporary, like a day. Like it got me out of discomfort for like a day, which was a godsend because I've got 3 little kids. However, now, let's put it this way. I am currently training for a 100-mile 4-day ruck challenge. If you don't know what a ruck is, it's like a military inspired event where you carry everything you need on your back, and it's a fundraiser. And I have no fear about how I'm going to feel about it. I mean, I'll probably wear like a trochanter belt or something to provide extra support, but there isn't any part of my body that is telling me I can't do it. And if you had asked me to do this last year, I would have been like, oh, hell no. By the end of a day, one single day with 3 kids, I was usually bending over the counter in pain. And that's not the case. It's not.
Yes. See? And well, yes, you're still having the hormonal stuff, which you've seen by the testing and stuff, that things are definitely still a little wacky in that area. You see the shift in other places in your body, which if you're not, like you said, reflecting and keeping track of this, you might not notice that, and it's little things like that that really show things are healing and changing in your body. Because like I said, we don't get a choice in what our body chooses to heal first. It will pick whatever it feels is the most necessary thing to heal first and then work its way through, everything else. So Yeah, that's just amazing to hear that you can actually do that now, because I 100% feel you on like your back hurting. That's the first place that I can tell immediately that I am out of alignment with something in my life, or I'm holding on to something that I shouldn't. I need to let go of it because my back starts aching.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
it
my
really is just a sign.
about his back on Sunday. Well, we were just laying in bed at the end of a long, busy day, and he was like, "My back's on fire." And I literally, for the first time in like I don't even know how long, on this past Sunday, I was like, "Holy shit, mine's not." Like that's so interesting. You're the one complaining about your back and not me. And I just like took a moment with that, and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you, body," but also thank you to me for putting in the work, because
Yes,
it does take a while. It does take time.
it does. And like we talked about, it can definitely feel discouraging sometimes, because things that change are not always huge things right off the bat. It's not like,
Which I'm okay with it.
right?
Whatever way it wants to heal, you know what? Let's just do this. It's a journey.
It is. And that's, the thing too that can just be hard, is knowing that it's a journey, and journeys aren't always these straight linear, you know, events. You don't just, for sure. And this is why it's important to have support. You have a really good support system in your husband and your community there with your other healing friends. So that has been, I'm sure, super helpful as well to have those people.
It has been. And if you are someone who doesn't have a supportive spouse or friends or whatever, there's the whole online world. I mean, the majority of my
Mm-hmm.
friends aren't anywhere near like you're in Chicago, and then in I don't even know what you bumfuck all the time, and like you have to find your people. You can't just sit there and complain about it and not do anything about it. There are people out there who will resonate with you and listen to you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention, or anything else that maybe came up while we were talking that you were like, oh, I should mention that too?
Um, I think I think it's just really fascinating because in my case, I ended up also doing testing with hormonal coaches and stuff. And now that I'm like going back through my notes from your reading, it's really fascinating to see how my actual scientific testing is reflected in exactly what you said too. Like you were talking about my South Node in Virgo and being prone to sluggish liver, and I actually have been using one of those liver packs with the what's it called? The
Castor
oil.
oil.
Yes, castor oil. Thank you. And I think it might have been mentioned by you back in the day, but I was like taking baby steps. And then this also came up with my hormonal coach, and I apparently do have cellular hypothyroid, and I do have a sluggish liver and all these other issues that exactly like what you said in the reading. And it's just fascinating to see it all connect. I almost wish that like I had taken all your notes and given them to my hormonal coach to start off with, so we knew exactly what to look at. But either way, it's really fascinating seeing it all connect.
And then there's also the whole astro nutrition piece. I remember when I sent you the reading, the first thing that you commented on was like, oh my God, girl, yes, I do love chocolate and wine. How did you know that?
Yes, and I do love going to the gym and like my cutest gym clothes. Like that's just who I am. And some of that I think the things that you said, the little things that you would add in like that, the resonance helped me love myself more and accept myself more as is, which then also helped with all this other emotional stuff that I had to work through, you know? Like there's nothing wrong with me for wanting to buy a new Fabletics outfit and wanting to like how I looked and match at the gym. Whereas like old me would probably hold a little bit of judgment or like, just like crap on myself when I really didn't need to. And so being able to just be my whole authentic self and know that I'm just perfect as is has probably also been a great part of this healing process.
Good. I am glad to hear that. That's the other part that I like, is it points out the stuff about you that makes you you, and there's nothing wrong with those pieces, even though sometimes society, family members, whatever tells us that there is.
A big
Yeah.
journey I've been on, that self-love. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's hard for Tauruses, I find. A lot of Tauruses are very self-critical, and that's that earth nature. It really is.
Yeah.
That fixed earth nature gets that tendencies of being self-critical to get like stuck in you. And working through that is actually and that's part of too of being ruled by Venus. Libras have the same tendency, and they're an air sign, but they're ruled by Venus as well. And so a lot of the self-critical aspects come from like how you look and what clothes you're wearing and how people like you or don't like you. And it get really, well, if people don't like me, then something must be wrong with me. And it's hard to remember that not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay, you know?
I've actually got a little crazy, and I've started actually just taking off my shirt at the gym and just wearing like my sports bra and my body, because like it's the kind of studio gym where it's mainly women who we actually strength train. So there's a lot of women there who just wear that kind of thing. And I was always like, and you've met me in real life, like I'm not big. I actually have muscle definition, but I have a lot of skin after having 3 kids that made me uncomfortable. And so I've been practicing just like taking off my shirt at the gym and feeling comfortable with that. And people are just like, wow, you look great. And I'm like, I do? Holy shit, do I? You know, it's that self-critical piece, but learning to love myself as I am.
Yes. And accepting that when other people tell you that, it's 100% true. They're not lying to you. They're not saying that to make you feel better, that it literally is how they are perceiving you.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I am so glad that we got to talk today, and hopefully this can help other people listening to see that, hey, getting a medical astrology reading is 100% worth it and totally something that they should be doing if they're looking for multiple things: how to heal their bodies, how to feel better about themselves, self-love, healing, psychosomatic issues, and anything else. There's a bunch of energetic issues that can be fixed through so many different modalities. And yeah, so I am glad that it helped you. I am glad to hear your progress because I know where you were. We talked a lot about that, and I'm glad to see where you are now. Even just talking today, you seem different in a good way. You seem more confident. You're more calm. You don't seem so like stuck. That sounds weird, but like energetically, you always seemed very like stuck when we talked. And I don't feel that today. You feel different to me, which also probably sounds weird, but you know me, so you know it's not.
No, everyone can feel energy. Anyone can relate to what that is like when you walk into a room and things feel off. We all get that. So good. I'm happy to hear that.
So yes, I'm glad. Thank you so much for coming on, and we will chat later.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed making it. You can find all relevant links to today's show in the show notes below. If you loved the show today, please subscribe, follow, and leave me a review. I love to hear your thoughts, and it helps me know what is a hit and to make more of that content, especially for you. If you want to learn more about me and how I can help you, head over to atlaastrology.com. There you can sign up for a medical astrology package, download my free sun sign in your health ebook, read the blog, and so much more. If you want to connect more outside the podcast, follow my Instagram channel @AtlaAstrology or join my Astro Connection community, the link to which you can find in the show notes. Until next time, love and light.